Hey, how are you? So some time ago, I read a story on a blog hosted by The Secret TV. You know, The Secret, the Law of Attraction guys, and it was a pretty interesting story about a community in Australia. Now, the federal government at that time, years ago, wanted to create a dam because that area in that coast of Australia was going through a massive drought. And so there was this river called Mary River. And so the government wanted to create a dam so that they can build a massive reservoir to combat drought, which was a good plan. However, the Mary River itself, if the government continued with that dam project, it would endanger lives, endangered species, endangered animals like the indigenous turtle, frogs, fishes, and what have you would be impacted severely. And aside that, the area also had fertile land and fertile farmland. So as a result of the reservoir being built, a lot of fertile farmland will be underwater, and this will displace thousands of people. It will displace communities, displace um, small towns. So the communities around that the Mary River decided to fight back. So they formed a resistance. And they printed flyers, posters, billboard, and it was all about attacking the dam. This dam cannot happen. It will have massive consequences on our lives, our livelihood, the animals and endangered species and all that. But however, the story noted that as much as they protested against this dam, the dam project went on as if nothing happened. In fact, it was gaining speed the more they protested. Not until one of the organizers of the protesters called her fellow organizers together and said that, listen, we are focusing on the wrong thing. And she said that, do you notice that the more we focus on the dam project, this massive reservoir that the government was building, the more they focused on it, the more energy they gave it, and the more energy they gave it, the faster the project was going, to the point where it seemed like they were not doing anything. So she said, like, you know what, we need to change our tactics, we need to change our focus. And they decided that what they will focus on now will be on the river itself. And so they created a campaign called Merry River Forever. And all they did was celebrate the abundance of life of that the river has, and all the beautiful things about the river, the people it supports, their stories, just beautiful things about the Merry River. They printed bumper stickers, flyers, posters, billboard, just celebrating the river. And according to the story, the fortunes of the community changed overnight because the federal government of Australia at that time decided to halt the dam project, and indeed the Mary River continued forever. Most of us do not understand the kind of energy that we give to the things that we do not want. You know what Carl Jung says, that whatsoever you resist persists. The energy you give to the things that you do not want is the same energy that continues to create those things that you do not want. That is why it persists. I have a friend who has a mutual friend. Well, mutual friend is not really mutual. She's more of my acquaintance, but for the sake of, YouTube, let's call her my mutual friend. And so we're talking about this mutual friend, and we all have friends or family members that are always in some kind of sorrow or some kind of trouble. They reflect that song by Richard Dimple that says, if it ain't one thing or the other. We have people in our lives that if it ain't one thing, is the other. They just keep complaining about something. But we were talking about a certain statement this mutual friend of ours always makes. And the statement is this. She would always say, I do not know what I want, but I know what I do not want. I don't know what I want in life, but I do know what I do not want in life. And if you ask her what she doesn't want in life, she'll tell you XYZ. But if you check what are the things that really worry her, it is XYZ to the T, as in exactly. So, according to Carl Jung, whatever you resist, whatever you say you do not want, continues to be created. And we keep thinking, what would happen if our friend could just turn her focus from what she doesn't want to what she wants? Because if what you resist, one of the best quotes I've ever heard in my life is so simple but is amazing. Whatever you allow continues. It is so simple, but it is breathtaking to me. Whatsoever you allow continues. Whatever you resist persists. Let me put it to you this way. If I ask you what kind of life it is that you do not want to live, you'll tell me what it is exactly. But if I were to ask you, what do you want? Most of us will be at loss of words. We can tell you exactly what we do not want, but when you ask, what is it that you really want? Most people won't have a word to say. That's one of the most powerful things I heard from the late Bob Proctor. And he never goes on a seminar or a talk without asking the question, what do you really want? What do you really want? Most of us know what we do not want, but we don't know what we really want. So I ask you today, what do you really want? Sit down and write it out. What kind of relationship do you really want? Everybody knows the relationship they don't want, but what kind of relationship do you want? What kind of man do you want? What kind of woman do you want? You're sick and tired of that same old neighborhood. Okay, what kind of neighborhood would you like to be in? Most people don't know. Okay, what neighborhood resembles what you want to live in? They don't know. Have you ever window shopped for what you want? They have never done it. So how can you get it? And the interesting thing in life is most people say, well, I don't know how I'm going to afford it. But have you noticed that life or your finances always seems to rise to mirror your expectation? And this has happened to everyone, including you. You must have gone through a season in your life or multiple seasons where you know you're sick and tired of this level. Let's use $5,000, for example. You're sick and tired of living with under $5,000 a month. You know, you can't drive what you want to drive, wear what you want to wear, live where you want to live, afford the things that you want to afford. And but you don't know how you're going to step up to the next level. But one day you just get sick and tired and you find a way to break through. You break through, not even knowing how you can sustain it. But for a funny reason, your finances just seems to rise to the level of where you are. It happens to me all the time. It happens to you all the time. That if you think 5 years ago and the person who was 5 years ago would see how you live today, that person was saying, how could you have afforded it? The truth is, you didn't know how you were going to afford it. You just knew that this is what you wanted, and life just mirrored your expectation. The same is true with resistance. The more you resist, the more you create, and the universe feeds off of our subconscious. So when it sees us presenting something, it says, oh, this is what master wants. This is what she wants. This is what he wants. And it sends your way exactly. Whether you resist it or you want it doesn't matter. The most important thing is that you put emotion into it. Have you heard of this quote from Mother Teresa that's attributed to Mother Teresa? And she said that I will never attend an anti-war rally, but if you invite me to a peace rally, I will attend. And she was ahead of her times, because have you noticed that every anti-war rally always breaks out into violence? every protest against injustice always ends up with people, innocent people, getting arrested, perpetrating the injustice. Rallies against war always ends in violence. Why? They're perpetrating, resisting what they do not want, thereby creating more of the violence. So if you're creating what you do not want, if you're living in what you do not want, wouldn't now be the time to at least start window shopping for the things you want? To start visiting neighborhoods of where you think you want to live. You know, there was a time in my life before I got married, I I genuinely I genuinely thought that all men cheated on their wives. True story. But I realized that I was hanging around at that time in my life. I was hanging around men, and needless to say, most of them were in the entertainment industry back then. But most of them cheated on their wives. And so I was a single guy, and I kept thinking to myself, oh, this is what it must be like. Until I was yanked from that environment and I started hanging out with men who had integrity. And I saw that, oh, it's actually a different thing. There are people that are actually faithful to their spouses. Do you understand? But if I'd continued in that, my life would have mirrored exactly that, because that was what my focus was on. So stop focusing on what you do not want. And in the words of Bob Proctor, what do you really want? What do you really want? Give your focus to that. Yes, I know you know what you do not want. And the reason why it keeps perpetuating is because you focus on that. You keep focusing on this damn car that you hate. You absolutely hate this car. But then they ask you, what kind of car would you love to drive? And you have no idea. I hate this relationship. It is filled with this and that. What kind of relationship would you like to have? I hate living in this community. It's filled with losers or whatever it is. What kind of community would you like to live in? Give that your focus and you will see. Listen, there's something called the tyranny of the how. What stops most of us is the how. But I'd like you to know that the how is none of your business. The universe knows the shortest, the quickest, the most harmonious way to bring you what you want if you focus on what you want. If you begin to understand that life is a game, honestly, when you begin to understand that life is a game and it has rules, but ultimately at the end, it is just to have fun. Think about it. Who are the people that have fun the most? Children. Why? They play. If I ask you when are the times that you really enjoyed living, it's probably a time where you were on holiday, or when you were just taking a walk on the beach, or hanging out with your girlfriends or your pals, and you're just laughing and just wilding out time and just making jokes, enjoying life. Was that play? Ask people who really, when was the time that you really enjoyed your work? Is when you found a way to play while you work. In other words, you enjoy what you do. It becomes play. Because the truth is that we are here to experience what we are not. In other words, we're here to play. We're here to experience. And that is why, if you understand that life is a game, you begin to understand that, listen, whatever I resist will continue. But if I change my focus, I'll change my feeling. This happens to me almost every single day I go to the gym at night. I know that I might walk into the gym and I'm tired and, oh my God, I don't know how I'm going to get through this 90 minutes. But deep within my mind, I know it's just a state. And all I need to do is change my feelings. So what do? I put on rap music, or I put on, hip hop, or an up tempo, And the moment my mind hears that, do it all again. The energy just returns, you know, and it happens almost every single evening. And the guy who came into the gym wondering, can I do 30 minutes, ends up doing 90 minutes every single day because I've understood that once I change my focus, I change my feelings. So stop resisting. You're just giving it more life. Stop resisting. Find what you want and focus on that. And indeed, you will see that what you focus on will persist. All right. Hope this makes sense and hope this doesn't go too long. All right. Take care. God bless.